with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the market preview for the 11th of April. Let's jump right into it just real quick before we get started. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only, meaning I'm sharing my trade plan with you in hopes that it makes you a better trader. However, it's not automatic. It's not easy, right? It takes work, right? And it's just a step-by-step kind of deal. That's all there is to it. So, I would not recommend following me blindly. I would recommend you learn a process and follow it so that you understand the ups and the downs of it. Now, I'll give you a great example. I'm not great at a straight up market. If the market goes straight up, I kind of have a hard time. And it's mostly psychological, not setup wise. It's just one of my kinks that if the market's going to decide to go straight up, I'm just going to have to sit there and wait it out until I see some rotations or adapt. And one of those adoptions that I've needed to make has been the willingness to take profits earlier than I otherwise would like to, particularly on the short side. So I want to address that for just a second. Everyone has catches, right? I know what I'm doing from a technical standpoint. My zones are really good. I usually hit my marks pretty damn well. It's really a question of my willingness to hold on to a long trade in a market that's just been challenging. So, number one, we are opening up, if it's just ever so slightly, plus looks like 1.5. Is that right on ES? Currently trading 28.9775. That's up 2.25, and NQ is barely up $1.50. I'm looking to see if there's a change in character, and particularly after the first hour, right? If we don't change that character in the first hour, well, it's not a big deal. There's just nothing for me to do at that point, right? So that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see if when we get negative ticks in the market, does the market actually go down, or is it just a slow ride to the downside, and then they get responded to back up, right? That's all very, very important to me in terms of what is that going to end up looking like. Let me see if I'm missing one 5-minute chart. Hold on one second here. See, I have ES. I have NQ. That means I'm missing CL, and there is CL right there. And, 1, 2, and 3, 4. There we go. So for today, the first thing I'm going to ask is, are we changing character? If we open up and go straight up, right, I miss out. That's just how the deal works, right? Let's start with CL, and we'll work from there. So the first thing you'll notice in CL, we opened up. CL, we're basically, so this is our, if you will, breakout day of the short covering profile. See how we haven't been able to establish underneath this whole profile from the 8th? In order to roll lower, what you're going to want to see is a consolidation underneath 63.88, and that opens us up. There's not much to hold us from retesting that 63.20 if we can get underneath there. Problem is, we haven't been able to get underneath there. So this is really what you would argue if you look at that chart. That's an uptrend, consolidation sideways, and looking for a continuation pattern until that breaks. And I would argue that, yeah, it's due a pullback, but I've been wrong for so long on that. If I had that process in CL, and CL is a single commodity, you can keep going. This area up here specifically, there's a huge hole in the profile. Expect it to want to fill in if we get there, meaning it should chop back and forth in this area and fill in the volume that's completely missing in this area. And this may be what the chart's looking to repair on the upside. I don't have much else to say about that other than the longs have been working great. The shorts have been working okay. You've got to take your scales because they just keep reversing it back on there. There's not much else to say. When the ranges get tight, right, you can't force a market to be the market you want it to be. There's a perception of little to no risk in the market right now, which means no one's motivated to sell. And if you think about the last piece of it, when there are sellers, right, who really drives the market lower? Is it really profit taking, or is it guys who are taking losses? It's usually guys taking losses. Well, who's on the losing side of this formula at all, right? It's no one. If you're long, it's all shorts that are getting smoked, and hence the continuous drive up. Okay, so there's no one getting smoked long right now. There's no place you could have bought outside of this little high right here the last 3 days, and you're not even below this swing low. There's no motivated sellers. That's just how it is. Doesn't mean it can't break down. Doesn't mean it shouldn't break down. Just means you're going to need some kind of change in perception of a change in fair price. And realistically, since there's a perception that oil's worth more than it was a month ago, right, and that the fundamentals have changed, a realistic response to that would be balance, right? Not reversal and some kind of crash. It would be balance, right? And we would need some kind of change in perception in order to actually have a significant correction to the downside. So that's CL. Here's the S right before we open. Again, I don't trade the first half hour, so this is still the 50-60 retrace from the swing low back up. I mean, from the top of the open gap back here to the left. To have any downside, you're going to have to beat 28.72. That's all there is to it. It's the 50-60. They've held it. It's got to go. It's this week's swing low. If we don't break that, good luck. And so they're obviously retesting this week's swing high right out of the gate. I don't know what it's going to take to change the perception, but I'm all right, totally all right waiting for it and letting it come to me, right? That would be my 2 and 3 cents about that. And then let's go lastly. So I know I've got to at least get beyond this point. And then also remember, if you're trading inside of here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, see all those value areas that are all overlapping? It just gets sloppy in these areas. So we want to get underneath all this. There's a trend line in there as well that you might want to throw up, essentially a value area trend line. We want to get below that trend. We want to get value to shift down, right? See how value shifts up? They try to shift down, but then they find immediate responsive buyers at the 50-60. We want to get the blue area to shift and close underneath that moving average. Would also be a big clue. I'm clearly going to miss the top on a short side trade because I'm not willing to continuously just murder myself trying to find the top. It's been pretty futile since January. It's April. Most people who've been trying to do it have lost a lot of money. So I feel fortunate that I recognize that the market was straight up. Switch gears. Don't go after it, right? Lastly, let's go do CL. Excuse me, NQ. And I'm going to go over the specific setups. There's NQ, same story. Value keeps shifting higher, right? We're effectively one-timing to the upside. Even though we stopped one-timing here, we closed on top of value. We want a day where we can actually, another clue will be, see how all the closes are above the blue area, which is the value area on the TPO? It'd be good to get a day where we actually, when's the last time we closed underneath value? Like, go look at that. How far back you have to go where we actually closed out of and underneath value. And you have to go all the way back to 319. It's the last time we closed underneath value. And even with that, we couldn't clear the prior day's low, even after having done that. And then before that, it was 314. Like, that's a bearish close, most people would say, right? Close on the low. But see how it didn't close below prior day's low? And they snapped it right back up. So you need two things. Close under value, close, and then trade underneath prior day's low. A combination of the two to know, hey, they've broken, or a change in the some type of change in the sentiment, right? Overall. I don't have anything else to add other than the other area you want to throw up on your chart here is this 50-60 from this swing low to where we're at right now. And this area becomes this right here. Expect them to try to respond out of that area. And where it makes the most sense, that's the mid of a half gap right there at 74.14-ish to 74.30. Expect a response out of that area and a strong one at that. And I'll be looking to get long. Obviously, that'd be 200 points down approximately at this point. So I'll be looking to attack that area when and if we get to that point. So when I was talking last night with Daniel, I was like, maybe they'll roll it over tonight, not total fantasy, right? So watch the 5-minute chart. And then the one thing you do want to watch out for so you don't get killed, I haven't caught very much of the upside move here. So what I don't want to do is start going, well, they're automatically going to respond back to the upside. I want to look for my specific patterns. I want to check the econ really quick. Just to make sure. Okay, so today, so we have a slew of FOMC speakers right now at the open. 1, 2, 3, right? So be aware, if you're trading right now, the boo factor, right? Any FOMC member speaks cautiously. At 3 o'clock on the close, no big deal. FOMC member Bauman speaks, right? And then you'll notice that we're also devoid of econ after after these Fed speakers are done. There is no econ. We have 30-year bond auction that has had almost no effect on the market. Generally, when outside of these FOMC speakers saying something that will scare the crap out of the market, expect balance on a day like today, right? Where there's no news to drive it unless something comes out. You're going to go, there's no driver economically one way or the other. So the edges, or we're looking for a change in character, one of the two. But right now, there's no indication of that. So the 5-minute charts have been laid out pretty clearly, right? The other thing that you'd be looking for if you're aggressive, that was an attempt at the gap fill right there. We get underneath all this noise right here. That's the moving at that trend line right there. That's the value moving average. So you want to be underneath that. That light blue zone right there, 2888, can get broken relatively easily, right? Make sure you have a good setup from there. Then this is the area I would expect a response out of first time if we melt for some reason into this area. But again, that call, that oh, we're going to melt down call has not worked. We've had 2 open drive lowers. They've been met with responsive buying each and every time. And so I just don't have the expectation on any of it. And when I see it, I'll go, oh, that's what we're looking for. So then the last piece is the actual setups, right? And guys, on my ES traders, the trade that's been the most money is the algo firing on, and actually I'm going to reduce this chart, I think, just to this, buy speed bar. We got that yesterday. It has been the most reliable trade to the upside. I don't think it only formed once all day long, right? It only formed once all day long, but it has been total money. Obviously, we've been going straight up. When that changes, it won't be as money as it is right now. It's still a high win rate. But if you look back, buy, speed bar, again, been paying you just repeatedly over and over again, buy, speed bar up, and I'm hunting that. So on ES and on CL, guys in the room, y'all know the patterns that I'm looking for. So there's no econ to get in the way. You're just trading with the Fed right now. So I'll give it the first half hour for them to let them say what they're going to say and see what they want to do. And if they change character, like, for example, NQ is now underneath the white zone, right? If I felt like being aggressive, that would be an area I would examine. But I'm going to have to be willing to take a stop, right, within this area. And I'm just not willing to, because they've shown just repeated ability to just step in and annihilate you. So why do you want to do that? I wouldn't understand at all. So I hope it goes down. I really do. I'm looking to be a responsive buyer, and I'm looking for a two-way market to open up. But I don't have a good reason to just sit there and go, hey, short, throw caution to the wind. It's been hard. I got stopped on one short yesterday afternoon, and I made it back up right at the end of the day. But it's tough when you're taking, one stop on the short side, and you may not get another opportunity with the pace that the market's been going at, right? And you've got to be very, very cautious of chasing shorts into the hole. You really want your setup, really, really great setup. Or again, you're just asking for trouble. So I'll be hunting it, and if I see the patterns, I'll call them out. But right now, I don't see any reason for me to get aggressive to the short side yet. Any questions in the room? I know it's frustrating when it goes straight up. I get it. Trust me. There have been mornings where I've woken up and gone, I just don't, I'm not taking, and here's the frustrating part. I journaled about it. I discussed it with a couple of trader friends of mine. Almost all the trades have been profitable, right? Almost all of them. This isn't working. Hold on. I got one system that should be running and is not running. Let me log out and log back in. Why isn't this running? No bueno. Locked up. Let's see if we can unlock it. So I'll give them the first couple minutes, and if I actually see selling, I will celebrate. I'd love nothing more than to see this market down 100 points or more. Either one of them, I don't care which one it is. It would all be good for me, and I'd be happy to see it. So potential open drive lower off a gap on ES and on NQ. And Chop City on CL. That'd be my 2 cents about that. All right, you have to break this. You break this, there's plenty of room to the downside. You got to break it first. And again, realize what they want to break. There's some easy marks, right? So that's your swing low from the afternoon on ES. It's a 5-minute chart. You got to get below it, right? Otherwise, you're just going to snap it back up. And then the other thing, if you keep trying to short it and you're getting frustrated, it's because there's no one motivated to sell. That's why. So everything you try to short, right, gets snapped right back up against you. On NQ, tick is neutral at exactly 0. We don't have a positive or negative 600 tick. It's still early in that rotation for that. And then NQ, all they've done is everyone who tried to grab it off the open and go, they've swept them. I'd say that's my mark right there. I want to get underneath that and hold underneath that, just from a visual standpoint, to let me know that we have potential of extending to the downside, right? So let's just stay patient. I'm pretty sure we get an opportunity somewhere, and the zones are valid, right? So if you need location, I would trade location at the zones and not try to guess too much. So there's Fed speakers right now, guys on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. I'm looking for longs on dips and looking for my algos to set me up until things change. And I'm quite willing, as sad as it is to say, to do nothing until that gets fixed. So anyways, I'm going to cut that off. If the market starts moving, I'll open up a YouTube window later today to show the setups. But if we all stand here, we're just going to be staring at nothing, right? And the people who are making money right now are the shallow dip buyers. They do tend to get killed when the market switches, but right now they are having a party, and let them enjoy that party. And I'll find my opportunity somewhere in between those 2 points. So have a great day. Trade well. Have a plan. Don't blow up. Talk to y'all later.